It's exciting to think about her being reunited with her family today. Let's bring in Republican Wisconsin Congressman Mike Gallagher. He's a member of the House Intelligence Committee. And the tactical win here of bringing her home does not address some of the concerns that you can have. Two ideas in your head at the same time, as Gutfeld always says on the 5. Listen to Peter Doocy and the White House press secretary yesterday.
Why did Russia get such a better deal?
Our choices was Brittany or no one at all. Bringing home one American or no American at all.
And that's gave up a professional athlete. We gave up a prolific arms dealer who was convicted of trying to kill Americans, who was called the Merchant of Death.
The professional athlete is also an American citizen. So let's not forget that.
Congressman, let's get your thoughts on this today, especially given that traditionally it has been that you take, if you're in a situation like this, you would take the one who had been held the longest. That did not happen here.
Well, of course, we're happy for her family. When you have an American come home, you know, that's a great thing for her family. But the concerns are at least twofold. The first is just the terms of the trade itself. As you point out, we're talking about one of the most dangerous men in the world who is a convicted terrorist, the Merchant of Death, tried to kill Americans in return for a professional athlete on trumped-up drug charges. The reality is Putin took a hostage and used it to exert leverage over the United States while he's in the middle of a conflict in Europe, and we're supporting the other side. The second thing is the signal it sends more broadly. I am concerned that the signal it sends is that it's open season to take American citizens hostage, because this is not just an isolated incident. The Biden administration also let a sanctions violator, a Chinese sanctions violator, and a high-level Huawei official go to secure the release of 2 Canadian citizens, the so-called 2 Mikes. They lied about it at the time. So the concern is this creates a pattern where we are willing to accept a bad deal and send a signal that it's a good idea if you're a rogue regime and you want to get leverage over America to take Americans hostage.
Paul Whelan, who is the American still held, he did an interview in which he said he is disappointed, but that he's glad that Brittany's home. Do you think that there's anything else that Putin wants that would help us have some leverage in order to get him home?
Of course, the main thing Putin wants right now is control over Ukraine. We should not allow that to happen. We shouldn't give it to him. But, of course, he sees us as part of a broader, chess game here. This is just an individual piece on a broader game. And sometimes I worry that we're kind of playing geopolitical checkers. We don't have a coherent strategy, and we don't understand the nature of the regimes that we're dealing with. Too often we try to project our sensibilities onto evil men like Putin or Xi Jinping. That doesn't work. You have to understand you're dealing with hard men who only respect hard power. So it's time for us to get tough and negotiate from a position of strength, not weakness.
Well, let's talk about China for a moment. You have a new assignment from the possible new Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. You both wrote an op-ed yesterday for FoxNews.com. The headline is "China and the U.S. are locked in a Cold War. We must win it. Here's how we will." So what do you plan to do to try to win this war, or at least explain to people why we need to be worried about it?
Well, Speaker-elect McCarthy is creating the Select Committee on China. He's asked me to chair it, and I think elevating the importance of this issue is critical. And I want to point out that it's the Speaker-elect's intention to make this a bipartisan effort. We had the China Task Force that was led by Chairman Mike McCall. We tried to get the Democrats to participate. They refused. That was unfortunate. We want them to take this seriously, because defending America from Chinese Communist Party aggression should not be a partisan exercise. So to do that, we need to reduce our economic dependency on China. We need to make sure that we are surging hard power west of the international date line and defending Taiwan in particular. And we also need to understand how China is trying to corrupt and subvert our domestic institutions and make sure that they are not allowed to do that going forward. So this is an important effort. We want the Democrats to participate, and the Chinese Communist Party is our foremost threat in the world today.
All right, well, you chair that new committee, and we'll be following that as well. Thank you. Have a good weekend.